Imagine this. You're watching Tesla's 2026 shareholder meeting stream. The Cybertruck is on stage, the numbers are on the screen. Elon is doing his usual Q&A, and then the lights dim. A silhouette walks out. Not a car, not Elon. A human-sized robot gliding across the stage like a person. Then stopping, turning to the audience, picking up a box, stacking it perfectly, pouring a drink, and casually waving. For a solid few seconds, Elon Musk just stands there grinning like a kid, because this isn't the clunky prototype we saw a few years ago. This is Tesla Bot Gen 3. And if what Tesla is building right now actually ships the way Elon is hinting, Gen 3 is on track to completely steal the show at the 2026 shareholder meeting, and maybe rewrite what we think work even means. Oh my god, let's get into it. First, quick reality check. Tesla has been teasing this robot, Optimus, for a few years now. Early versions looked like someone in a suit. Then we saw the real thing. Walking, picking up boxes, doing squats, and even dancing at the 2025 shareholder meeting. Elon straight up called it the biggest product of all time, bigger than smartphones. Since then, Tesla has been dropping short clips online. Optimus folding laundry, wiping down countertops, and moving with more and more human-like balance. You can actually see it running laps in the lab now and doing kung fu-style moves to show off its stability. It's easy to roll your eyes and say, yeah, sure, we've seen robot hype before. But here's the difference. Tesla isn't just building a cool demo robot. They're trying to ship millions of these as real products at car-like scale with a price target around a mid-range sedan. And Genesis 3 is where that crazy goal stops being a meme and starts looking dangerously real. Okay, so what actually makes Tesla Bot Gen 3 such a big deal? Let's rewind one step. Elon's been clear about 3 brutal challenges that keep most humanoid robots stuck in science projects. Hands that actually work like human hands. Hands that actually work like human hands. AI that can handle the messy real world. Mass production at automotive scale. Generation 1 and Generation 2 were basically Tesla learning to walk, literally. By General 2.5, the robot could walk around the office, navigate basic obstacles, pick up objects, charge itself, and perform simple factory tasks, but the hands were still the big bottleneck. Then Tesla unveiled a next-gen hand with 22 degrees of freedom, fingers that bend, twist, and pinch almost like a real human hand. Elon even admitted the hand is the hardest part of the entire robot. Now, Generation 3 is the first full robot designed from the ground up around that level of fine control. If Gen 2.5 was a robot that can walk and carry boxes, Gen 3 is a robot that can walk into your kitchen, grab the right mug, pour coffee, and wipe the counter without smashing everything. That's a completely different league. All right, here's the deal. To understand how Gen 3 steals the show in 2026, you have to look at what Tesla's been quietly changing behind the scenes. In mid-2025, they shifted how Optimus learns. Instead of relying mainly on motion capture suits and remote control, they started training it almost entirely from video, using camera rigs on human workers doing real tasks like folding shirts, stacking boxes, and loading shelves. Think of it as YouTube, but for robots. Humans work. The robot watches from 5 angles. Tesla's AI digs into every frame, how your wrist rotates, how your elbow swings, how your weight shifts as you step. From that, Optimus Gen 3 learns patterns. That's what a smooth step looks like. That's how you grab a glass without crushing it. That's how you tuck a sheet when you make a bed. It's the same philosophy Tesla used for full self-driving. Flood the AI with real-world video, train on it at insane scale, and let the neural networks figure out the rules. Now apply that to a humanoid robot, and then put it on a stage in front of shareholders. You start to see where this is going. So, what does Tesla Bot Gen 3 actually do at the 2026 meeting? Let's walk through a realistic scene. The lights go up. Gen 3 walks out with a stride that finally looks normal. No exaggerated robot stomp, no awkward wobble, just a smooth, balanced gait, even over the cables and ramps on stage. The same kind of uneven terrain Tesla's been practicing in those kung fu and track running videos. It stops next to a workstation. On the table, a pile of clothes, a couple of mugs, some tools, and a tablet with instructions. A Tesla engineer speaks casually, "Optimus, fold the t-shirt and put the mug on the right side of the table. No joystick, no tether, no script the audience can see." Gen 3 pauses for a fraction of a second, scans, and gets to work. It picks up the shirt with both hands, finds the corners, folds it in 3 motions, and stacks it neatly. Then its hand, with those 22 independent joints, gently grabs the mug by the handle and places it exactly where it was told. It's not just impressive because it moves. It's impressive because it understands. That's the whole game. But Tesla being Tesla, they're not going to stop at parlor tricks. To really sell Gen 3, they need to prove 3 things on stage. Dexterity. Hands good enough for real work. Mobility, movement good enough for real environments. Intelligence. Decision-making good enough for real tasks. So you can imagine a sequence like this. First, Gen 3 picks and places objects of different sizes and fragilities, maybe even cracking an egg into a bowl without shattering it. Then, it walks across a small obstacle course, ramps, steps, maybe a moving platform, showing off balance and dynamic recovery if it's nudged. Finally, it helps a human, passing tools, following pointing gestures, responding to simple spoken instructions. The point isn't that it's perfect. The point is that you can finally look at it and go, yeah, I can actually see this thing in my factory, or even my house. That's the moment Gen 3 steals the show. Now, how does Tesla actually turn that stage moment into a real product? Here's where Elon's crazy roadmap comes in. At the 2025 meeting, he talked about a future where Tesla builds millions of robots per year with a long-term cost around $20,000 each and factories designed almost like gigacasting lines for humanoids. Some reports suggest Tesla's goal is to start with a few thousand units internally, ramp to tens of thousands around 2026, then push toward large-scale external deployments once they're confident in safety and reliability. Gen 3 is the first version that could realistically work full-time in a Tesla factory, do repetitive, boring, physically demanding jobs, collect huge amounts of real-world data every day, and pay for itself in productivity, all while being basically a walking AI data collection machine. If you're an investor, that's not just cool. That's terrifyingly valuable. But wait, let's talk about the part everyone worries about. Is this safe? Because yes, a robot that can run, balance, and manipulate objects precisely enough to cook or clean can also mess up, or get hacked, or just be misused. That's why Elon keeps emphasizing multi-layer safety systems, encrypted control networks, onboard AI firewalls, real-time monitoring, and hard safety limits baked into both the hardware and software. If Optimus behaves outside its allowed range, it locks down or shuts off. And beyond that, Tesla talks about remote override. Humans who can step in and take control or stop the robot if something weird happens. But here's the subtle challenge. Optimus, especially Gen 3, isn't just a remote-controlled machine. It learns. It adapts. It generalizes from your house, your factory, your routines. That's powerful. And also exactly why security, ethics, and regulation have to keep up. You're not just shipping a product. You're shipping a walking AI system into homes, hospitals, warehouses, maybe even police work in the next decade. So yeah, the hype is massive, but the responsibility is just as big. Okay, zoom out for a second. Why is Elon so obsessed with this thing? In his own words, robots like Optimus could eliminate poverty by doing the physical work needed to create abundance, everything from building houses and growing food to caring for the elderly. Imagine a world where a fleet of Gen 3 bots builds a solar farm while humans supervise from a tablet. Robots stock shelves overnight in every store. Optimus units handle lifting, loading, and cleaning in hospitals so nurses can focus on actual patient care. At home, your household Optimus does all the chores you hate, from laundry to dishes to taking out the trash. In that world, labor becomes optional, not work itself. Humans will always create new things to do, but the grinding, low-impact, physically exhausting part of work, that's the vision. And every time Tesla shows a new Optimus clip, running, stabilizing after a shove, handling fragile objects, you can feel that vision getting a little more real. But let's bring it back to you, because it's easy to get lost in the sci-fi. So imagine this for a second. It's 2027. You're in your kitchen after dinner. You glance at the pile of dishes in the sink and just say, Optimus, can you handle the cleanup? Gen 3 walks in, reads your body language, sees where you're looking, and gets to work, clearing the table, loading the dishwasher, wiping the counters. No complaining, no scrolling on its phone mid-task. Later, you're tired. You point at the laundry basket. It understands. It picks up the clothes, folds them roughly how you like, and stacks them on the dresser. How much is that worth to you? $50,000? $30,000? $20,000? That's the kind of question Elon wants you asking yourself when he says Optimus could be bigger than smartphones. Because if Gen 3 truly works, it becomes a platform. First chores, then caregiving, then physical labor everywhere. Now, of course, we've got to be real. There are a ton of ifs between today and a Gen 3 that cooks, cleans, builds, and cares without constant babysitting. Training robots from video is hard. Getting hands to be strong and delicate at the same time is hard. Mass-producing complex humanoids reliably is insanely hard. Tesla still has to prove that Gen 3 can operate day after day without breaking, falling, or doing something unexpected. They have to solve regulatory questions, worker displacement fears, and all the Black Mirror scenarios people worry about. But if there's one thing we've learned from watching Tesla over the last decade, it's this. They like picking the hardest possible problems, and then just grinding on them in public. Electric cars were impossible. Reusable rockets were impossible. Maybe humanoid robot workers are next. So when you see that title, Tesla bot Gen 3 steals the show at 2026 shareholder meeting. Elon Musk stunned by new skills. What we're really talking about is this turning point the moment Optimus stops being a meme on Twitter and starts feeling like the next iPhone moment, but for labor. The moment investors stop asking if and start asking how fast can you build them. The moment you stop seeing a clunky robot and start picturing one in your house, your business, your life. That's what Generation 3 is aiming at. So now I want to hear from you. If Tesla bot Gen 3 really delivers what Elon is hinting, natural walking, human-like hands, real household and factory skills, would you buy one? What's the maximum price you'd actually pay for an Optimus in your home? And be honest, does this excite you? Or does it freak you out just a little bit? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Tesla can really pull this off and flood the world with humanoid robots by the end of this decade? Or is this one of those ideas that will stay in sci-fi longer than Elon thinks? If you enjoyed this deep dive into Tesla bot Gen 3 and how it could absolutely steal the show at the 2026 shareholder meeting, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming breakdowns of Tesla's wildest projects. Thanks for watching until the end. Stay informed, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next one.